It's Xavier, and if you want to know what I'm going to do with these 3 trees in response to Tony's generous challenge, then all you can do is watch on, because there's no way I'm going to tell you any other way. So join me for a bit of fun, and let's see if we can make this collaboration absolutely top stuff. Oh, thanks. I wonder who it's from. Well, I've got a good feeling I do know it's from, because I know Tony of TonysBonsai. Absolutely stellar he is, absolutely stellar. Good example to us all. Come up with this great idea, and you'll already know that because this is going to follow a video you've probably just watched, hopefully. Are they my peanuts, Tony? It's good if I've got them back. Oh my gosh, there's more than one thing in here, I think. Is there? Oh my gosh. I feel a bit guilty now, Tony. You only got one off. What is this? Okay, let's have a look. Berries. These poison berries. Now I'm guessing... Well, I know one thing. I haven't got whatever it is. Oh, soil nice and damp. Thanks, Tony. That's brilliant. Let's see what we'll be doing with that then. Okay, well, we've got that one. What else have we got? Ah! I don't know if anyone can see here, but that's got twisty wisties all around the trunk. And why do I have a feeling that I remember seeing a video of Tony? Well, mind you, we've all seen videos doing all that. Could this be one of yours? I see. Your cast-offs. I know. You didn't have a clue, so you thought you'd come to me. Ow. It's prickly. You gave me a prickly tree. Look at the bends in that. You've definitely been seen off by the tree I sent you, that's for sure. But then everyone will know that already. In fact, no one's watching because they've already seen what rubbish I gave you. Okay, so we've got that one. We've got some more. Did you use my sphagnum? And that looks like, Tony, what is it? Don't know if you see, it's got lots of little bud points lower down. Anything else? Oh! Would it surprise anyone to know that I believe I have got, oh my gosh, this, it's incredible. I know you've seen his video, but these are incredible. Oh my gosh. Got a short one. I'm not joking, you know I wanted these. I am so choked. You're a star, Tony, thank you very much. Alex, I tell you what, this is the test to see whether Alex watches any of my videos. If you watch my videos, then you'll be asking about this. Alright, so now we've got to decide, what do we do? Do I start working in the indoor studio or do I wait another week and a half? No, you know what we'll do first? I'm going to show you what I sent Tony. Because if you haven't seen his video first, and I'm sure you must have, perhaps you want to have a little look and see what it was that I was going to send him. And then you might enjoy watching his video. I had a look, and I have got quite a few larches, but I don't want to give him a lame duck. I nearly thought, well, maybe he could see what he could do with that one, which is this great big straight larch. And you know, it's about 8-9 years old now, but I really don't know what to do with it. But yeah, maybe that's a bit too much. That's like giving him my cast-offs. But there's one that's just sitting in this corner here, which I think has got a lot of potential. And certainly I can see some ideas for it. But I wonder, what do you reckon Tony can do with it? Think I should send it to him? Okay, well, you've seen all that. Let's crack on and just see how badly I destroy those lovely trees he gave me. Right, so the first thing, Japanese holly. Let's see what Tony's given me here. There's some interesting roots up here. I always find these ones really difficult, and when I look in nurseries and you see stuff like this, it's often with azaleas and things, and you're like, I haven't got a clue where I'm going to start with this. And frankly, Tony, it seems like there's lots of options. There's this great big straight branch here, which something has to do about. But often the difficulty is knowing, you know, am I going to cut right back or I'm going to go all the way up. Nice berries on it though. I always find the best thing with this is when you're approaching new material, you need to have a look and see what's going on down in the engine room. So let's have a look at these roots, shall we? Well, there's a lot of sphagnum moss in there, which means he's probably already had a little look for me already. All that. Okay. Interesting. Quite, it's my new chopstick. Thanks, Tony. Got to break this up a bit. So I tell you what, we've got 3 trees to do today, so I'm going to break this all up first and then come back to you. How does that sound? Okay, I've managed to remove a lot of the soil. Notice the chopstick, perfect condition, good old oak. Very, very confused, but of course this is when your time comes. I've got this one coming up here, which could be interesting, but I've got to have a look properly on what we've actually got in there and where do I go, how far down do I go with the roots. They're actually quite brittle roots on these, so one of my ideas, believe it or not, was actually a root on rock with this. But the more I look at this, the more I'm thinking that's not likely to happen. I might actually give it a rinse out. I don't normally rinse these things out. I have heard told, I did a little bit of looking at holly, that you shouldn't remove all the soil on these things. But to see what we're getting on with there, I really needed to, because that will help make decisions on that. Okay, I'll come back to you when I've washed it out. I'm looking, I think the first move is going to be to remove these upper ones. So we'll do that now. Let's get everything that's upward. Let's have a look and see what's actually going on this trunk. Get rid of that. Just clean it up. Okay, got something coming out there. Just trying to find out where that root base could actually be. This one is growing up, so we don't want that. Something going on in there. Get rid of those. Something coming up here. Okay, so I'm just going to go around. She's got broadens nicely there. We've got some great big thick trunky bits here, which I wonder how well that would grow on a rock. I need to sort through these roots a little bit more. Get rid of anything that's coming directly underneath that clearly I won't be wanting. And why don't I come back to you when I've cleared that up? Right, well, I've looked at these roots a bit more. I've cleared out, as you can see there, it's right out now. I did think briefly doing a semi-cascade or something, but the root structure, because it's so rigid up here, they break. So to use any of that, I've got to keep it pretty upright. So the cascade design is definitely out. There's no roots there that will allow that easily, and normally with a cascade I'd like that bend at that point to be a lot more obvious. So we're going more upright. The problem with the upright, this big straight branch, and I don't like the way these roots are. So to make a feature of such gangly roots, I might go back to my first idea, and the first idea was a root on rock, and I have no idea whether this would work. Absolutely no idea. Do you know, I wonder why you sent this to me, Tony. Did you know how difficult this was going to be? It should be easy. It looks as though it should be easy. What on earth should I do?
I do know where you're coming from. This is a really challenging tree, and that's why I sent it to you.
First decision was definitely root on rock, so let's go for it. And funny enough, I have a rock. I don't know whether it would normally grow on this, but what I want to do is give as many roots as the opportunity to grip and go around. This isn't the ideal way of doing it, I know. There's the rock. I've put a little bit of sphagnum just underneath the base of it so that it's got something to sit on. It's not the ideal fit. It's different. I haven't tried this before. I don't even know whether it would grow normally on something like this. So all I need to do is just sort of give the roots an encouragement to go around it. So I suppose we need to tie it on first. And the way I'll do that is carefully. And the other reason for using the sphagnum is because I've got it the roots exposed. I want to reduce the period of time that they're not they're drying out. The more flexible roots I want to try and tie closer to the rock. The risk is when you're trying to do it so tight that you actually destroy the roots, really. So it's a balance between securing it and not restricting the roots to the state that you actually squash them. With me, Granny's knot. Hopefully that now is going to secure to the rock. I don't know how quickly these roots grow, but what I did notice, and I think it's the thing that made me decide this, is that there were so many fibrous roots that clearly it does like to do that. So let's just have a little spin of how it's going to look on the rock. Interesting, if it takes, that could actually work out really, really well. I don't know whether that would be leaned over or not yet, but I'm more concerned about getting these roots to go around it. So that could be the front in there, actually. Let's get this put in soil. Good old-fashioned dishwashing bucket. Let's position this in. And the key here is trying to hold what roots are actually coming away from it close into that rock. That's what we want. We want it to grip. That's now in the bucket. And as I say to you, I've got no idea how these roots work on a Japanese holly. So what we've got to decide then is what are we going to get rid of, and I'm going to have a look at that, because obviously it could still be put on a bit of an angle as well. I probably need to go quite hard. Okay, sometimes the easiest way to make decisions on things like this is to look at what each branch is giving you. If we're assuming the front's here, this branch is going straight across. Is there anything else about this branch that makes it appealing or something you may want to keep? Now I know this big fat lump keeps on drawing the eye, and it's not ideal. But this one, what is this giving us? It's giving us it's straight, it's crossing at an angle, but there's a bigger issue. That branch there, if you can see, gives you this branch here and this one here. So I can remove the thick one here and get two from it, very low down. Here, although it's a horrible big thick thing here, I've actually got a branch here, and initially branches here and here, so I can remove at least 2/3 of that for now. This branch equally bifurcates very early on, and I've got new growth here, so I can actually bring it right in and start again. This one has that one bifurcation, but there's nothing obvious on it, so as well as it going across, it's not actually giving me anything here that I wouldn't have to wait for buds. So in this instance I'm going to be guided by that decision, because I still don't really know where the front's going to be here. I'm assuming it's going to be here somewhere, but we'll see. Anyway, let's remove that one first. Okay. And I've read they do cuttings well, so I might actually just put that straight into some soil and see how that grows. So I'll do that in a minute. Okay. Apply a bit of cut paste to that. Here. That one's a problem. So we'll get rid of that. The obvious choice here is the first true junction where we've got any growth is here, so that's where we're going to remove from. I don't know whether we'll get budding lower here or not, but I know that that isn't going to be any good on its own, so I'm just going to cut it right back like that and just see if that encourages back budding. I know nothing about it, so let's find out if it back buds. I've got this one here. I don't know what'll happen here. We've got this great straight thing here and here, but we've got something behind it, so the next natural choice to be would be to remove that one there. Okay. Got twos here, so we're going to go back to there. What would be lovely actually is if with this movement here to this one, is if I get budding out of here, then I can actually remove this entirely, because there's actually no taper there. That's the thing we're talking about here, is the taper line here, there's nothing. That's a great big thick trunk of there. Okay, so we've got little ones here, here. There's absolutely nothing along here, and again, I don't know, does it back bud? So the only way to find out is to ask it to. I'm asking you to back bud. Okay, so the big choices at the moment, we're becoming very, very two-dimensional, and it could be the way out of that is going to be to remove this one at a later stage, and so you end up with just these two, and that could happen. But at the moment, I'm not sure. It's whether I get rid of this bottom one and keep the top one. But what I'm going to rely on here is there's 1, 2, and 3 here that are coming out. So that's where I want the new growth to be. So let's remove this. So let's get rid of this clump here. In fact, I need to go further than that. Okay. That's as much pruning as I'm going to do. I've probably taken off far too much.
Nice bit of pruning, mate. Beautiful.
We'll see how it responds. I have no idea how the roots are going to work on this, but in terms of all the options, well, let's give it a spin and just see. I mean, I think if that roots work, that's going to be beautiful on there. And it could be that what ends up happening is I end up cutting that one off and that one off, putting this over like that, until the whole new tree comes up there. I could see that being a definite option. We'll see how it develops. We'll see how it goes on. As I say, how Japanese holly respond is the key. So, the $1,000,000 question, Tony, is what on earth would you have done with this? Really, really would be interested to know what your plans were when you got this. Over to you.
What would I have done? I think, having looked at it, it is a tricky one. There's no doubt in my mind that this straightest trunk has to be removed. I think to remove these other branches creates some quite big scarring, and they almost all have to go, or the main leader goes. And I think I'd get rid of the main leader, and then I would have planted it on that angle with this thickest trunk gone, and then I would have wired and manipulated these branches a little bit and just pruned it round into that sort of shape. Yeah, that's definitely what I would have done. So it's interesting, will his look anything like that? Who knows?
Okay, I've had a bit of lunch. What I think we've got here is a Northophagus or a false beech. Very, very delicate, tender skin. So we need to treat it with care, which means, everybody, is going to involve Rafia. And we know that since I've used Rafia, I love it now. But that's if I follow one option, because the truth is, I've had it on good authority that this is actually a pretty boring sort of tree. And you only need to look at Tony's original video all about this, and he'll show you how much of a boring tree it is. It's almost not worth bothering with. Oh yes it is. I know what we can do. We can send it to Xavier. I think we really need to close up, because the thing about it is we've got this lovely, very, very fine budding foliage, and the buds are just starting to open up actually, but it's quite high up, so it only lends us to two solutions really. It's not the most flexible. We either put some bends in it, and I'm very, very nervous about just how much bend we can put in this, and try and do some sort of Literati style, or if you look here, we've got budding branches there and there. I don't think there's anything else lower down here, so we're okay there. We've got this bit, I remember when Tony cut that off, but beneath it there's a little bud point there. We've got a bud point here, here. So I need to make sure, if I'm going to go for the option of using Rafia, that I stay clear of those, because I actually would like those buds to come out. One of the options I'm sure that we all look at is put an air layer on it and have this lovely bit up here. And the truth is, it's not thick enough. For the effort of trying to put the air layer in there, sure, you'll get it, but you haven't got enough there. It's still only a twig, so I'm really not going to spend my time doing that, which means I try and either bend it with a view to getting some shape for Literati, or I just go, hey, I've got this lovely bud pair here, why don't I cut it there and start from there? So we actually have it from there, and that's a very, very attractive option, if not only for the fact that it saves me a load of work, but that helps me with my decision. So I'm going to go have a go at bending and see what bends I can put in this. If the bends end up being breaks, then I know which option I'll go to next. So let's get some Rafia on, shall we? And I'm sure you don't need to see me do that again. If you want to learn about Rafia, have a look at that video there. Got more, another bud point there. Let's miss those. Miss those. Okay, so we're going to join in. I don't know if you can see it. I've got my two ends there. I'm now going to plait them in so they're underneath where this comes. Now we can use this new piece to tie that in. Oh, do you ever have days, Tony, where you just think, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this?
That's the nature of bonsai, and at the end of the day, it's really not that important. The main thing is that we're enjoying it.
Okay, so that's all Rafia'd up.
Was that Xavier playing that Rafia, or was it Ryan Neal?
Okay, so here we go. Oh, there's something missing, isn't there? There's always something missing. But really, if I'm going to do the bend, I don't think the Rafia is going to be enough on its own.
Wah, wah, wah.
So before we get to bending, I suppose, looking at my freshly wired caddy. Again, watching where the buds are. And preferably, we want to put the bend where those buds are, because that's where our new branches are going to come from. Don't want to rub, there's a bud just there, which I really don't want to rub off. We've got this coming out, so even if I break it, I want that one coming. Can I?
Don't be frightened of snapping this trunk, Xav. You've prepared it nicely, it's wired up, you've done everything you need to. Now get stuck in and give it a proper go.
There's another bud, so that bud will come out here. We've got a bud here, so really, oh,
Painful.
only joking. Okay. Now, can I go more? What would you do, Tony? Would you go more?
I'm not sure if you're going a bit far with it there.
There's the wire applied. We've definitely got some interesting things, but the good thing is that if this one comes out, I have something I can do over here. Then I think, where's the next bud point? Another bud point here, and a beautiful bud point right on the inside of the bend, which is where we always like them. But no, it's and if we're going to go Literati, then I think what we would need to do straight away is get rid of that. So we've got this one coming down. Oh, that's the movement. Now, do I need to put Rafia on that, or should I just be careful? Okay. That's where I needed the raffia, because if I wanted to put a proper bend on that, which does suggest that I may look in the future, that branch may come off. Do you know what, do I do that anyway? What I'll do is I'll cut some of these right back. Okay, this is number 2. It's the use of wiring and raffia. I think we're going to follow some. We've got stuff that could come out here, which may change it, but the main point is going to be along here, here, and then this is going to come down. And I think I will end up removing that, and then something created down there. This is the main area. We've got something that can come from here, something from here. Yeah, and then this can cover in anything here. So yeah, so that's that one. I think we're going to try. I think what we might try and do is get that into a pot. I've got 2 pots I'm going to choose from. Bearing in mind how tall and Literati style I'm looking at, we don't want a flat sort of pot. So Dawn Isaac paid me a visit the other day to deliver me my main pot for my old man larch, but also I picked up this one. So that's the first choice there. Lovely, lovely glaze with this barky bit there, and that's the sort of green. So we've got that. Or number 2 is a more harsh sort of browny thing. Now I don't know how, it's a very, very elegant tree. That looks quite solid, clumpy and masculine. In fact, they both do to many respects. But I'm actually inclined to go for that one. It's there's a lighter colour in it, which hopefully will bring out on the leaves when the leaves come out, but I actually just like this differentiation. So we'll put that to one side.
I think I prefer the first pot rather than the second one.
It's still in the Tony bag. It's still in the bag that Tony put it in. I really don't want to do too much with the roots right now. I mean, there's some good roots in there, so we're just going to dram those down. Okay, so let's get this into the pot. There's not loads of roots on it. Just think about where the front, how I wanted that. Okay, it's tough because obviously the wire isn't attached anywhere down there, but truth is, the potting angle with that can be altered in a couple of years. At the moment there's no great deal of root structure in there. We want to get the shape right, we want to see how this stuff develops. But I think for giving you an idea of how it's going to look, I think we'll leave it at that for now.
I like the way you've angled that in the pot. I think that works really well.
There you go. Put a rock on it because rocks are nice. So the false beech. Not sure whether Tony thinks I could have gone further with the bending, but that's my my iteration of that. I'll give it a spin. And I'll be honest, you know, I'm really quite happy with how this one's come out as well. So my only question is, Tony, what were your plans for this this boring false beech?
The Nothophagus southern beech. It's quite a nice tree, this. It's got potential. He's got 2 options with this. I think he either decides to air layer up here, create 2 trees. This could be a nice kind of almost broom style, and then he can do with whatever he wants down here, because there's buds all growing. Or you can turn this into some kind of Literati style. Maybe put it on an angle, bend that round and put some nice movement into the trunk. If he does that, he will have to protect that trunk because they are prone to bark damage, these trees. So it's quite an elegant one. It is simple, but I do think there's options with this tree. And I've got quite a lot of these Southern Beech. I think they're a wonderful tree, and I hope he's done this one justice.
Well, that's 2 of the trees done, but I don't know about you, but I've been pretty busy today. And I would imagine that you've probably been pretty busy with your faces glued to YouTube. So instead, have something to eat, come back tomorrow or the next day, whenever you actually watch this second part, and have a look and see the damage I do to Tony's juniper. I will say this though, even I'm pretty surprised by how much it comes out looking like a juniper bonsai, like a real juniper bonsai. But let's leave that for the next video. Tony will have a few words to say then, but I'll say now, absolute stellar, great stuff working with you, Tony. So to everyone else, happy bonsaiing, God bless, cheers for now.